it was really, really stormy and she almost died. Big storms. And instead of thinking, wow, the weather was bad, he thought, witches put a curse on the ship.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode 121. Woo!
We made it!
We sure did.
Wow, unbelievable. I'm Sadie.
And I'm Juliet, obviously.
And we created the Goddess Hangs podcast to inspire you to live magically.
Real magic.
Real magic. My voice cracked. It's early in the morning for me here in Australia.
So pretty. Oh my goodness. Well, we are pumped because today we're doing a really fun episode. We have kind of a little game planned and we have a big catch up to do and we have lots of information about witchcraft in the 1500s, 1600s, the King James era. Boo!
Boo! Boo!
Get off the stage!
Boo! Screw you, King James of Scotland and England.
I was so confused because it was like, he was referred to as King James the Sixth and then King James the First. I was like, that's the same guy.
Yeah,
same guy.
I was reading this morning, but he was born Scottish, King James VI, and then he became the first King James of England. So his title switched. Or he's both. It didn't really switch.
Boo.
And I'm Sadie Olson, the first of Marshfield, Wisconsin.
And I'm Juliet Piper, the first of Los Angeles, California. All right. I kind of want to switch it up this week. I want to know what's new with you.
Wow. Okay. Let me get my notes.
Let me just hack into the mainframe.
my favorite bit right now, whenever I'm sitting with the girls I'm traveling with, is like they'll ask me a question and then I'll like pretend to type furiously on my computer before I give them an answer. We think it's really funny. Comedy. Okay. So what's new with me? Still traveling all around. Imagine that. I'm in Australia now. I am at like the most incredible Airbnb ever. But before I explain, like I am like in some sort of portal or vortex right now. I don't know what's going on. Like every day I'm just like, what is happening? Things are just pouring out, overflowing. It's amazing. But where did we leave off? Last time we recorded, I was in Dunedin, New Zealand, which is a coastal town.
Dunedin to tell me more. Sorry. Okay, go on.
Okay, I think... Oh, no. Okay, so we recorded after I went to the castle, right? Like I talked about that last week?
Yes.
Okay, so we went to the castle. Didn't expect to hiked in a skirt. Let's see. And then I went to Queenstown, New Zealand. And so Queenstown is a very popular tourist destination. It's the vibes of like a bougie ski town. Like think of like, where do everyone goes to like Vail or there's other, but sort of these like very like, elevated, like just nice, touristy, and that's what it is. It's a ski town. And it's inland. So we took a bus there and oh my God, the bus ride there, the views were absolutely, I like made a couple of videos on my phone, but you guys know, like it's like, yeah, it's pretty, but it was just mind-blowing. Parts of the drive were like on these narrow roads in this huge bus and I'm in the window seat on the outer part and it just feels like I'm just flying, like I'm on like a hoverboard because we're so close to the edge and I'm looking down this ravine at this river, this beautiful river and these beautiful like green rolling hills around it. It's just obviously crying. on the bus, take a drink. We're going to keep playing this game the whole time I'm traveling. Everyone bring your drinks. And oh my God, I almost forgot about this. Okay. So our bus driver, this is the cutest bus driver. We get on, he helps put our bags in the underneath. He doesn't, I don't know, like we read people very well, right?
Yeah.
This guy was a total wild card. I assumed he was just a quiet guy, bus driver. I completely misread him. This man talking and talking and talking over his little microphone so that the whole bus can hear him. And he's just making conversation. He's just sharing about himself. And it was the cutest. I mean, we were like crying, laughing, and we were just like, he was like, and he's got his New Zealand accent, which I'm not going to try to imitate, but he's just like, oh, well, I couldn't help overhear someone saying how most bus drivers are grumpy. And, I can't imagine that because look at these views that I get to drive through every day. What I say to that is those bus drivers must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And he's just going on and on and on about like grumpy bus drivers and how he's not grumpy. And he just loves. And he's like, the first few times I drove this track, I was pretty anxious, but nowadays that I'm used to it and driving the narrow roads and I know where I'm going and I'm not going to get lost. We're like, get lost? Are you sure? He's like, now I can really enjoy the views. And he's just talking. Every time he would get back on, we would time it. We would look at and it would be at minimum 10 minutes of just rambles. At one point he randomly comes on and he's like, I'm going to tell you a fable that I told my grandkids last week.
What a guy.
And he tells us this really inspiring and educational fable about, and he's explaining why he's talking about his grandkids and their personalities and why he had to teach this lesson. We get the whole spiel. This one was about 15 minutes. And he's telling the fable of the tiger, the something in the ass. And he's like, I did use the word ass with my grandchildren because that's an important part. It is like a donkey, but it's an ass because it helps make the story make sense. So I did say the word ass to my grandkids and we were like, okay. And basically the gist of the story is like, don't argue with an ass. Like they're dumb. You're never going to convince them. And it was actually a really good lesson. Like, yeah, don't argue with people that are, never going to see things your way. Don't waste your energy on that. It was so funny. He's just talking the whole way. I was like, oh my God, I totally mistook this for just like another quiet bus driver that I don't know. But we get to Queenstown. It's really small. So there's this big, just bright blue lake and you're completely 360 surrounded by mountains. And it's just the most beautiful city I have ever been in my life. And I talked to a couple people in the airport, like that were New Zealanders, and they were like, oh, Queenstown's like the bane of our existence. It's so touristy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, because it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed being in that. It had a very like luxurious energy, and an abundant energy. And I just can't even, I posted all over my story how beautiful it was. And it's really small, so you can walk to everything, which was fabulous. There's tons of good restaurants, and we walked through the botanic gardens that have been there since the 1800s. And we went to the cemetery, and everywhere you look is just freaking beautiful. We were going to do this like cruise on the lake, and then someone gave us a hot tip that they were like, just take the water taxis because they go from town to town on the lakes, and it's like $5 instead of spending like $70 on a like specific cruise. So we just like took a water taxi to a couple different spots and got to see like, all the views from the water. It was so fun. The water taxi drivers were like so funny and chatty, and it was just like such a nice time. We stayed in a hostel there, which it was a beautiful hostel, but it was like really hard on my energy. And we had it was so clean. It was so nice. It was so fun. Everything about the hostel I would definitely recommend, but it was just hard for me personally, who needs a lot of alone time. And like, you know, like our bunks had like curtains and there was like a light and a plug-in and shelves like in your little bunk space. Like it was spacious. It was like literally so nice. If anyone's going to Queenstown, it is, you know, a bit more pricey to stay there. So if a hostel would be right for you, I could totally recommend this place. But, you know, like meditating while there's like 5 other people asleep in your room and you're like laying down in your bunk, it just doesn't hit the same as like meditating, you know, by yourself in a room in the morning. So, my energy definitely like, and I was just like tired, you know, like we've been doing a lot. We've been moving a lot. The girls I'm traveling with, they have a lot of energy. They want to hit every activity. They want to do everything. They want to see everything. And then I'm like, that sounds cool. I want to do that too. I'm usually a bit more chill where I'm like, I don't need to see everything. I can always come back. So every activity we did, everything we saw was so amazing, but I was just like tired and my nervous system definitely was just like feeling worn. But I shared this on my story and as a TikTok, but my travel hack, especially if you're traveling in different countries, and you're just really feeling like worn out, all of the newness, like, you know, it's amazing, but it can be overstimulating. I go to a McDonald's, or if there's not, my first choice is McDonald's for some reason, but Starbucks works great too. But they're, you know, they look the same everywhere and their menus are pretty similar. It's also really fun to try the different things if you're in a different country. But I went and I like spent a couple hours at McDonald's and like journaled and read my book there. And I literally felt like a brand new woman. Like McDonald's saved my life. Shout out.
Thank you, McDonald's.
The familiarity and the smell of the French fries, right? Like they're like little portals. Much like the Cheesecake Factory is a portal in our little friend group we have.
It is.
McDonald's is a portal to home. It's like Dorothy clicking her heels and you're like, here I am. When you walk through the doors.
There's no place like McDonald's.
Or Starbucks works too. But McDonald's is just like more nostalgic because it's like, it's been there since we were kids. I wish it was still colorful and bright, but
I know. I want to sit on a little spinning hamburger chair.
Right. I want to sit on a McDonald's lap.
Oh, yeah. Remember you could do that? Wasn't that the chair?
You're just always sitting on a bench. He was on the edge of the bench and I'd always like crawl into his lap.
There's a documentary.
A statue, not a real man.
On HBO Max called like McMillions or the McMillions scandal. And remember when we were little, it was like you'd play Monopoly at McDonald's and you'd like peel the ticket. Okay. Yeah. The whole thing, it became this huge FBI investigation because the same person kept like taking the tickets out of the factory where they were being made and giving them to different people. And it was just this odd thing where like, how come every winner is somehow related to the first person who won? How come they all live in Florida? And then finally, like somebody called the FBI with a tip because she just saw it go down and she's like, I'm not going to say who I am, but like, you need to look into this. It's an amazing documentary. It's like a 6-part series.
The tea. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Next week on Goddess Hangs, the McMillions scandal.
Yes. And I will say that the people who worked at McDonald's truly, I believe, had no idea. It wasn't a McDonald's employee who was doing this. It was like a person who was hired for security at the printing company that printed the tickets. It was a whole thing. And oh my God, like these people who would get wrangled into it and but yeah, wow. Crazy stuff went down at McDonald's. Play Monopoly at McDonald's.
Beg my mom, yeah, because she was like, you know, we didn't go to McDonald's very often. She was a little health nut. But when we did, I was like, please, can I get the stuff with the Monopoly stickers on it? I just collected them. I didn't even play the game because we didn't go enough to play. I just liked having them.
Me and Victor's grandma would play the Vaughn's Monopoly thing.
Oh, yeah.
even just a few years ago, but then like the past 2 years, they made it all like on an app. And I'm like, she's 85. What is she going to do with that? So,
You know what I was thinking? This reminds me. It's not that interesting, but I've been
hey, no disclaimers.
No disclaimers. This is the most interesting thing I've ever said on this podcast. Everyone buckle your seatbelts.
Okay.
You're about to get whoosh, blown away.
Hold on.
So, this is my second country now I've been in. Oh, it's 3:33 right now, 3:33 p.m. And first of all, sadly, it's all digital now, going through customs. You don't get passport stamps.
What?
Maybe some countries will.
Stamps?
But it made me really sad. I was really looking forward to filling up my passport. But New Zealand and Australia, you just stick it in these scanners and they scan it, and then you walk up and they take a picture of your face, and then it's a little like freaky. So I'm like,
It's like Disneyland. They take a photo of you now.
New Zealand, it printed out my awful picture, and it's like my eyes are like black, and you can kind of see my features because it's black and white, whatever. But as I was going through, customs the second time, I don't know why I was just in a line surrounded by like very old people. And I was just thinking, and it was like at this moment, there was I don't know where he was from, but he was definitely a monk. He had like a outfit on, like a monkish uniform on. He was so cute, and I could just feel his like peaceful energy radiating. I kept just looking at him because I was like, thank you. I felt like he was like grounding me after the flight. But he was very old, and I was just thinking about like, damn, the way so much in our world has changed. And these people that are, 70s, 80s, 90s, like everything they've had to acclimate to, because
I know.
I feel like, we're just in this technological age where stuff is moving so fast, and even everything we've had to adapt to, right? But when we're, the younger you are, the easier it is for you to learn stuff, right? Like we know that with like kids, like learning new languages and stuff, they say like, start them young. It's so easy to learn then. And we're going through this customs, and, there's some people standing around in case you need help, but there's no humans. Like you slide your passport in, and then you have to answer some buttons on the touch screen. And then you walk through this gate, and you're locked in between these two things. And then they take your picture, and then the gates open, and it's all like, it's pretty discombobulating because you're just like, robots are letting me into this country. And then you have to go through customs, and some people check your bags and whatever. But I was just like, damn. Like shit has changed since the last time I traveled, internationally, like a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was just thinking like, if I'm like blown away by this, someone, double my age is like, whoa, or triple my age. So that was something I've been thinking about. So interesting. Whoosh, are you blown away? But so I was feeling kind of ungrounded and anxious in Queenstown. And then I kind of started feeling this, like getting stuck in this ego loop of feeling kind of like guilty. I'm like, I'm in the most beautiful city I've ever been in. I'm surrounded by magic. I'm not feeling magical. I'm not feeling connected. Like, who am I to like not feel good right now? Like living out my dreams and being in this beautiful place. Like I was sort of feeling guilty. And we talked about this in the Alchemy Collective Mastermind a little bit, but just like, even as you are like literally living out your wildest dreams, like you're still human, and you're still allowed to have like bad days or a bad week. And like, even though like I, have anxiety that I have to be very mindful of and manage very carefully, it's like, I'm never going to allow that to like ruin me living a dream or stop me from living a dream, right? Like we all have our shit. We all have our stuff we're dealing with, or our, I'm going to say quote limitations. We could view them that way, but I'm like, no, I'm going to like, even though I'm feeling anxious, like I'm still going to go outside today, and I'm still going to live, I'm still going to live even though I have, these things. And if I feel guilty about that, like, all right, I'm just going to accept that feeling too. And I did my little tapping and I felt loads better. And then after like kind of a day where I was feeling really bad and I went to McDonald's and I really took care of myself, I like didn't do the thing that was planned for that day. I was like, you go ahead. I don't need to see that different city. I don't need to go to that winery. I'm just going to stay home. The next morning, I woke up very early, couldn't fall back asleep, did like an hour-long meditation, and then I was getting up and I was just going to go down to like the kitchen in the hostel where I had been working throughout the week and just like, you know, open my laptop, get to work, create some shit, whatever. And as I'm walking past this window, there's just the smallest little glimpse of the mountain, and the way that it's, you know, early and the sun has risen, but it's like that golden hour, right? We have golden hour in the morning and at night. So it's like golden hour outside early in the morning. And I just heard this voice in my head that was like, go outside. And I'm in very southern New Zealand right now, and I'm in the southern hemisphere. So it's very cold. It's like the 30s, and I am not packed for this. So I was like, absolutely not. It's freezing. It's early in the morning. It's literally 30 degrees. And it was just insistent. I was like, no, you need to go outside. You need to go outside. I was like, fuck. Okay. So I like go back up to my room and put the layers I have on that are still not enough for the appropriate for the weather. And I just go for a walk. I stopped my McDonald's and I got a coffee. And I go for this walk, and I'm crying once again a little bit. I have just like tears because it's just like that early morning when like there's like construction workers banging and you're smelling like coffee brewing. And I ended up making a post where I kind of like, I guess it's a poem. I don't know. I've been just having these things flow through me that feel so good and fun to write. And it was just like, there's these big mob of ducks and they sound like they're laughing and the light is so beautiful. And I was just like, oh, like the magic is back. Like I just wasn't feeling the magic. And it just like that voice that was just like, go outside. Like you'll see it, you know, like this is like, go, it's quiet. It's everyone that is out is kind of sleepy and moving slow. And it was just like, it was just so magical. And now I'm in Australia, and the magic has just continued. It is so interesting. So I wanted to come to Australia since I was little girl. I had an aunt that always said she was like going to bring me to Australia, but then her and my uncle divorced, and she was like married into my family. And then like the year after they divorced, she went to Australia, and I was so sad. But I don't know if she was actually going to take me, but like that was like a one-off comment she made once, and my little kid brain was like, I'm going to go. But anyways, when I was in the New Zealand airport, I kept seeing like the flights to Los Angeles, and I was feeling like homesick. And I just felt like kind of sad. I was like, I kind of want to get on one of those flights. I don't know. I was just feeling sort of homesick. And then, which is normal. I love LA. It's my home now. And I landed in Australia, and it was like, I don't know, this feeling just like washed over me that I felt at home. And then that feeling of like homesickness kind of like turned to this like feeling of like, I don't want to leave. And I'm still in the fucking airplane. We've touched down, and I'm like sad that I'm leaving. And I feel homesick for Australia, and I haven't even been in Australia yet. And it was just the most interesting feeling. And I haven't even done much. So this is my second full day here, and it's like almost 9 a.m. So I had one full day here so far. I'm staying in a little like beach area outside of the city of Brisbane. And I like walked along the beach and went to the store and had a pretty chill day yesterday. We had a call, just wanted to like take things slow like yesterday and today before I figure out some more things I want to see and do. But I just like, as I was walking, I feel like, and I haven't met that many people here in Australia, but this is sort of my perspective of like past travels and just like meeting Australian people, like, I don't know, I just love every Australian I've ever met. I just feel very at home with them. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know, maybe my like future partner that I'm going to have a family with is Australian or something. I don't know. I cannot explain it. There's just this feeling like, I'm like, I love Australians. But as I was walking here, I was like, maybe I like, and this is like a very big generalization of my point of perspective, right? But I was like, I kind of feel like the foliage and the beaches and stuff, it's a California vibe, right? And I love living in LA. I love beach life. I love nice weather. But I feel like the people I've met kind of remind me of more of like people from the Midwest, like a very crude sense of humor, very weird, very funny in like the best way. And I was like, is Australia like the best of both worlds of my like my homes coming together or something? I don't know. And again, that's a generalization, but like of the people I've met and being here and the how it's felt, it's very funny. But I have to talk about this Airbnb I'm in right now because
please,
it's so magical. So I get in at nighttime. It's dark. There's no street lights on the street. I'm getting in later than I thought I was going to, but the host is standing on his balcony and he waves me down. He's like, Sadie, over here. He's like keeping an eye out for me. And so helpful, so sweet. Since I've been here, he keeps popping by and being like, do you need anything? I insist you use the bike. And like, I'm not going to the store. Do you want me to grab you anything? Like, he's so nice. I feel so taken care of and safe. And so the setup here, it's so beautiful. So there's this beautiful garden. There's chickens and roosters.
Oh,
they're so cute.
Birds.
The birds chirping here are unbelievable. There's chirps I've never heard in my life, and there's so many birds here. And the setup here, so like right now I'm in this little separate studio space, kind of like a guest house. But it's just this like one room. It's basically a living room with a little kitchenette. And then I go outside and my bedroom and bathroom are a part of the main house. So like they live upstairs and I have this little downstairs space. And then there's like a outdoor sink and an outdoor stove if I want to like cook and like for washing up. It's like the fun parts of camping with like the most luxurious bathroom.
That's my dream.
And my own little private space for calls and stuff that like they won't hear me because I'm not in the main house. You know, like it's literally the perfect setup. There's a giant bathtub. I'm looking under the sink because I get here. I'm like, I was just flying all day. I'm taking a bath. There's like homemade bath salt mixes with like handwritten on it. There's a literal love spell jar under the sink. I don't know if that's what they would call it, but there's this jar and it's full of rose petals and lavender and it's in some kind of oil and it has a little tag on it that says like, thank you so much. It was like a gift or something. And I didn't open it because I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like use this for the bath, but I just set it out because I was like, it looks like every love spell I've ever made, full of, oils and rose petals and lavender. And there's a bunch of candles and matches. So I light all these candles and outside of this bath. So the bathroom has this huge window. And at first I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no curtain or anything, but there's this enclosed wall around this garden. And there's this beautiful like Buddha fountain. And my host just got back. They're waving. And so there's like the sound of trickling water. And it's just the most beautiful little garden outside of the bath that's completely privately enclosed. So you feel like you're taking a bath outside. And it was just, and I had the most magical bath of my life. And it's so weird. So I was like, oh, I'm tired. I just kind of want to like mindlessly scroll through TikTok while I'm in the bath. The Wi-Fi works in the bathroom, but when you cross the threshold into the bath, the Wi-Fi doesn't work anymore. It was like God, the angels, the universe, they were like, no, Sadie. The bath is for meditating. The bath is for magic. The bath is for you to like be with yourself. So I had the most amazing meditation in the bath. I come into this like little guest house area. There's the most beautiful quilt with butterflies all over it. The runner on the table has blue butterflies all over it, which butterflies are a sign from my mom in spirit, but I specifically have been like playing a game with her where I'm like, I want to see blue butterflies specifically to like kind of like make it more hard. There's a whole thing with blue butterflies all over it. And there's this cute pillow that has owls all over it. And that's not as big of a sign for me, but my mom named me after an owl. And so just this owl against all these butterflies, I'm just like, oh my God. So I just got here and I just feel like the space I'm in, it's like witchy and spiritual. You know, I'm finding these candles and little spells and just a beautiful garden, and I can walk to the beach and the weather is beautiful. Queenstown was 30 degrees. It's 80 degrees here. Feels amazing. After this, today I'm going to go lay at the beach. I'm going to take the bike. I'm going to go lay at the beach. And I have a whole week here, and I'm definitely going to, like go see some sites, but everyone that I talked to was like, you're only here for 2 weeks. Like, it's not enough time. Like, you're not gonna be able to see everything. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just feel like with a friend or with a partner, I'm gonna like spend like 2 months just like doing the full road trip down the coast, like next spring or whatever. Like, I just don't feel a sense of urgency. Like, I know I'm gonna be back, and I just really want to like be slow right now, because I know our next stop is South Korea, and we're gonna be staying in a very big city in Seoul, and it's gonna be bustling and a lot of people, and I'm just like really enjoying the slowness and the solitude right now. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna ignore any ego that's like, you need to do more. Just really enjoy myself here. So yeah, I'm in Australia. I'm feeling so magical and supported by the universe and my beautiful hosts, and I'm just feeling very grateful and grounded and happy.
Good.
And that's what's new with me. What's new with you?
I'm so happy to hear that. Sadie and I were working on FaceTime last week, and I was like, are you good?
I was not good.
She was not good. That's okay.
I was not good, but I'm feeling much better now. It was just a lot. It was just traveling fast, being in a hostel, which again, loved it was nothing to do with the place. All the people there, talked to amazing people, did a quiz night. It was really fun. It was just
cute.
I just,
you needed to recharge.
We're so sensitive to energy, and we're going to work on this, this month in the Alchemy Collective. And I'm like, yes, I need to like reset, redefine, I need to strengthen. Like, I'm so excited that we're going to do this because, it's really cool and really powerful and really fun to be very open to other people's energy and reading it. But it's like, you have to be able to quickly like close off and protect and ground. And I'm just tired. I've been I'm in shock. 3 months, literally not leaving the house.
Yeah, no, I would have melted down. I would have had a complete meltdown. I go to Disneyland.
Juliet was like, oh, go ahead.
I said, I'll go to, a theme park for one day and I need 4 days to recover.
It's like going there for 2 weeks straight. That's what it's felt like every day. And like, you're having fun, right? But you're just like, I need to stop. But yeah, I felt bad because Juliet was like, are you okay? Did I do anything? And I'm like, no. I'm just generally agitated right now. I am just generally I'm just generally not well. But that's when I went to McDonald's after that. And I knew you knew that, but you had to, I get it. You had to check.
I just had to, I was like, did I send like an annoying email? And am I driving you nuts?
But then that was
You know.
after that call, that's when I went to McDonald's. I was like, I need to go have a spiritual experience at McDonald's because I am not well.
Oh my God. Okay. I wanted to say a couple things piggybacking off of your story. So I want to just go back to the McDonald's McMillions scandal. I'm telling you, the way there's an FBI agent, I think his name was Doug. I don't know, but he was young and he was super like funny and hot and brave. And he was like this new kid trying to like prove something at the FBI. And he said, I know what we're going to do. We're going to go to these people and we're going to say that we're with McDonald's and that we are making a documentary about the winners. And we're going to get them on camera and they're going to talk about how they found the thing. And they're like, Doug, we're not doing that. Like, who's going to be like the host? He's like, I'll do it. And so it was, okay, I just had to share that. Also, with your bus driver story. Oh, go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I love how you described him as like hot and young and brave.
He was.
I hope that's how people describe me. Hot and young and brave.
They do. So, okay. One day we'll have to bring our producer, my dad, onto the podcast because I think he'd be.
Wait, yes.
Because
oh my God, why haven't we thought of this before?
I don't know. He would be honored, or he'll say no. It's one of the two. No, he'll come on. So, and he'll
the
have
first
to tell
time we
this
meet
story.
and like have a conversation.
Can you believe that? He knows everything about you. He knows way too much about you, and you've
I know
not
it's
met.
Embarrassing.
It's not. It's fine. He's a cool dad.
Yeah, he is a cool dad. I can tell.
So he was always the one, he would like try a zillion jobs and he would be like, sure, I can do that. Like, that's where I get it from. And so there was one job he did, maybe he was 19 or 20 or something. And they were like, oh, could you drive this like huge tour bus, like up a mountain and give tours of, of whatever. I don't know if it was like towards Big Bear or Mount, just whatever. I don't know what it was. And he's like, yeah, I could do that. So
yeah, of course. Didn't he have to get like a special driver's license for that or anything?
Maybe he said he had it. I don't know. I don't know the story. This was, the 70s. You could just
maybe that
say
was different then. Yeah.
Who knows? So, you didn't have to watch your children back then. It was a different time. So he has this story that we just heard for the first time in the past like 9 months. We're like, why didn't you ever tell us this? He has a story that, he would take these buses filled with like really old people up this like treacherous mountain and they'd be like, oh, what kind of plant is that? And he'd be like, like he'd either make it up or he'd be like, I don't know. He was this tour guide who had no knowledge of what he was giving a tour on. And then one time, I don't know if the bus was like the brakes weren't really working or he couldn't turn it around. And so he said, there's something wrong with the bus. You might want to get off so that I can like try to turn it around. And like a few people got off, but most people stayed on. And so he's like trying to do like a 10-point turn on this like edge of a ravine. And all these old people are just sitting. He'll have to come on and tell it. But
oh my God.
And I think he quit that day. He's like, I don't want to drive a bus. He was the one, if I said, Dad, I don't like my job, he'd say, get out of there.
Brave.
Divinely delusional. He said, yeah, I can give tours.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know everything about the California mountains.
I love it. Speaking of some delusion, we were offered a couple brand deals this week. I can't even
Our inboxes have been blowing up.
We must have gotten on a list. So they're not brand deals because they say like, just so you know, it's not a paid opportunity. We're just going to send you this product and you're going to do a bunch of work for free talking about the product.
So funny is I think this is a lesson because I think I manifested this because I wasn't specific enough because I've been like writing in my journal. I'm like, our inbox is full of unexpected opportunities.
Specificity.
That make money and are aligned with our brand mission.
Okay, so
You hear that, universe?
So let's chat about the first one. So, you know, what's great is they're getting some free advertising. I don't know what the companies were called, but the first said, this is so aligned with your brand. This is going to be perfect for you.
Perfect.
Your audience is going to love this. It was like a hammer that you keep in your car so that if you end up in a lake, yes, you can smash out the... In your car, you can smash. And I'm here thinking, Sadie doesn't even have a car, and I don't ever leave the house. Also, what about mindset, magic, manifestation, and witchcraft has to do with like...
It was like the subject line was like, Goddess Hangs X Survival Tactical Gear.
I didn't even see that.
And it was like, well, we have an opportunity for you. This is so on brand. Your audience, we know your audience is going to love it. And guess what? You get 3% commission when people buy. I was like, And they emailed us like 4 follow-ups that were like, are you sure? We'll send you this survival kit with a hammer in it. I was like, well, could I just keep a regular hammer in my car?
I ran it by Victor. I was like, should I get the hammer? How would I demonstrate the item without smashing my car window?
Submerging your car underwater.
Has this ever happened to you?
It was very specific. It was like when we were kids and we all thought we were for sure at some point going to have to deal with a kidnapping. Does anyone else go through that as a child? Quicksand?
Yes. But to be fair, when we grew up, it was like big kidnapping on the news era. I'm not saying it was like a spike in kidnapping, but it was like very big John Benet Ramsey media, which is horrifying.
Yeah. We just had like Officer Friendly come to our school every single year for a decade.
His name was Officer Friendly?
Her name, and it was her real name.
Forgive me. How dare I? Her name was Officer Friendly.
Now that I say it was her real name, maybe it wasn't. I don't know that for sure. But her badge said it, and it was a real badge. Like above her badge. Okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it wasn't her real name. But my dentist's real name was not Officer. Well, my dentist's real name, this one's real. I'm like, do I live in the Truman Show now that I'm thinking of these names?
Officer Friendly.
My dentist's name was Dr. Smiley, and that one is real.
It's not.
It is because I was in dance class with his daughter, whose last name was Smiley.
Officer Tartar.
But Officer Friendly would come every year and teach us what to do. Not if, when we were kidnapped. So I was at peace. I was like, at some point in my life as a child, I'm going to be kidnapped. And I know exactly what to do.
This is so ingrained.
You kick out the light,
and you wave your little baby hand
in the trunk,
out.
And easy. And you break the zip ties over your knee.
This was also so ingrained in me that if I take a walk by myself now at 31, my thought is that person going to kidnap me?
1,000%. Yeah. Now
Not
I kind
abduct,
of feel like
kidnap.
I'll size up men, let's be honest. I'm not sizing up women to see if they're going to kidnap me. I'll size up men and be like, they wouldn't choose me. I'm the same size as them. They're choosing someone smaller. But if someone's a lot bigger than me, then I'm more alert because I'm like, well, they might choose me. But I'm the same size or bigger than a lot of men. So not as scared nowadays.
What was your librarian's name? Like Miss Bookington?
Miss Encyclopedia. And my librarian's real name was Miss Britannica.
No.
Just kidding. I'm really going to have to think through my life. Maybe when I was a kid, I was in the Truman Show or something like that.
Maybe.
I think I'm going to look it up. I'm going to ask my friends if was officer friendly. I swear to God. And you know what? She was fine, but I wouldn't say friendly.
Was your PE teacher Coach Fit? Okay. I could run this joke into the core of the earth. Let me tell you what's new with me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with this because this was the whole time it was happening. I was like, I cannot wait to tell Sadie. And the officers tuning in, and the goddesses and witches. So on Sunday, it was Victor and my, I almost said 6-year anniversary. We've been together for 6 long years. And I said, here's what happens at 6 years. I now feel qualified to give some advice.
Yeah.
Anyone who's giving me marriage advice that's like, it's month 5 of our marriage, I don't want your marriage advice. Mm-hmm. I'm not interested. Or people who've been dating for like 3 months and they're like, we prioritize a weekly date night. Yeah, no kidding. It's been 3 months.
Yeah, no shit.
You could still return your dress to free people. The 90-day period has not. Anyways, so it was our 6-year anniversary, and we had such a fun time. We went to IKEA. We bought a new shower curtain. Went to Target.
Ooh.
Got some bleach for the toilets. Just errands.
Crazy.
Errands in love.
IKEA is so fun. I love IKEA dates.
I love IKEA. Oh my God, we ate at IKEA, which I've never done. It's like a little cafeteria. Loved it.
I don't think I've eaten there, actually. Costco. Eaten at Costco.
Eating at IKEA is much better. They give you this like roll. It's like 3-tiered rolling tray, and you put stuff on it. And they have this area, and it made me realize that we are the most I need water. Non-inclusive place for children in the United States, because it was like, here's the children's area. We've set out some games. There's a microwave if you need to warm up a bottle. We have disposable bibs. And I was like, every place should have this.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was like a taste of a Swedish nation.
You know what I realized also while traveling is how untrustworthy Americans are, because here, like, there's just so much stuff that's just like out for, like, when I went to my first hotel in Auckland, there was glass wine glasses, actual glass. There was ceramic mugs. There was tiny spoons, and I wanted to take the tiny spoon, but I didn't.
You didn't.
But I was like, oh, like if they did this in the US,
be gone. Everyone
would take them. Yeah, like we aren't trustworthy. And my first reaction was, I want to take these. I did it, but I was like, ooh. And like, there's just been stuff as I've been traveling where I'm like, I can't believe they just like leave that out for us to use. But we're just very untrustworthy in America. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what's it like to live in a country where we trust each other? I'm trustworthy. But I was like, oh shit, we're wild. We're wild in the US.
We are. I mean, you can't get a Moscow Mule without like them holding your ID so you don't leave with the cup.
Right. I'm like that whole phrase where it's like, oh, this is why we can't have nice things. That's from the US. That's just Americans in general. This is why we can't have nice things, because you guys fucking take them.
Yeah.
Or break them or disrespect them.
I was out with a girl once, and she like put the whole mug in her purse. I was like, this is a small business. Come on.
When I was in college, I stole a lot of bar glasses. But to be fair, my friends worked at bars, and they said they planned for that. They put that in the budget because
they want you to take it.
But if you see a bar that has completely plain glasses rather than branded ones, it's because they don't want you to take them, because we all want to take the ones with like the bar name on it. We want a souvenir, right? Drunk people, drunk Americans.
No stealing.
But okay, the most popular bar in Marshfield is called Nuts Deep 2, and nuts is spelled with a Z. So if you think I'm not going to steal that glass, that's ridiculous. I would take one today. because mine
and
broke.
I do it again.
And I do it again. They
And I'd get
budget
away
for
with
that.
If it wasn't for you meddling kids and that dog.
Now I carry tiny purses everywhere, like no more than what I need. But back in the day, we were all carrying giant tote bags. Like that was just the style. So what? I have space. You think I'm not going to fill it?
Oh my gosh. It helped you break the habit. If you're a, what is it called? Klepto? And you like to steal things? Carry a smaller bag.
I never stole from a store in my life, but I had a handful of bar glasses I took. And I would just want to say, I'm sorry. This is my public apology. I'm sorry to Nut Steep 2 in Marshfield, Wisconsin. And Brats on State Street in Madison, Wisconsin.
I wasn't allowed to have Bratz dolls. My mom thought they were creepy and scandalous. So
I was like, because they're too sexy.
Okay. So
sorry, go. The anniversary.
Oh, wait. The other thing we were offered that was on brand for us was like a cellulite roller.
A fascia blaster.
I was like, you think I'm going to sit down and try to get... I am lumpy as cottage cheese on my legs. I don't care. I have bigger things I want to do. Okay. So, anniversary. So, we go to all of our fun errands. We come home. We change. We go out to a really nice dinner in Beverly Hills. This restaurant called Il Cielo. And it was this really cool thing. It was like indoor, outdoor, and it was really warm and cozy, even though it was a cold night. The whole thing was like sort of plasticed in, you know?
Yeah.
And they had heaters and there were chandeliers hanging from the ceiling outside. And I mean, the service was phenomenal and we're just having a nice time. And then we noticed that the table next to us, it's empty. A waiter comes over and starts like laying out rose petals all over the table. And I'm like, oh no. And then he brings over a candle that I'm not even kidding was like 3 feet tall. It was like a comically tall candle. Skinny. Really big. You could have whacked somebody with it. This lights this big candle, gets everything ready. And then this couple comes over and the guy's dressed really nice. And the girl's dressed really nice. And there goes our dinner because now I'm completely focused on what's going to happen at this table.
You're like, babe, shh, shut the fuck up.
I was like, is he going to propose? First of all, are they going to propose right next to us on our anniversary? I was like, imagine if you were planning.
Steal my thunder.
I was like, imagine if you were planning on proposing tonight and this guy next to you has the tall candle. And I mean, I know I exaggerate. You can ask Victor, this was at least a 30-inch candle. I don't even know the box you would need to ship it. So
wow.
They come, he's got this suit on. He's got this look in his eyes. They're like holding hands from across the table. They're taking photos of each other. I'm like, oh no. And I felt like that skit from SNL where Kristen Wiig's the woman who cannot keep a secret. I was like, I gotta tell her. At this point in the dinner, I have completely turned my chair to face their table. He starts giving me a look like, could you maybe not? And I was like, I need to see what's going to happen. If I'm one thing, it's not subtle. It's just not.
Yeah.
So
I respect that.
And Victor's like, tell me what's going on. Because he was facing away. And I'm like, okay. Then he starts taking a rose petal and he starts wrapping it around her ring finger. Like in this like cute romantic way of like, let me just play with it. And I was like, this guy's going to do it. And then I thought, and if he doesn't do it, she is going to be on the phone with her best friend tonight at 11 p.m. being like, can you believe Jake? Can you freaking believe Jake? He looked like a Jake. The night's going on. We get our dessert. So we're having a delicious meal. We're having a great time. We're cracking up. We're like very invested in what's going on over there. We order this really amazing romantic dessert. and it comes out on this tray. It's a heart-shaped souffle, and it has a real rose on top. And I used that rose in our group spell that I did for Alchemy Collective. And there's like little, raspberry swirls, and oh my God. And it was so funny because we're eating it. And I said, we've really had a lot of chocolate cake today. And he starts dying laughing because when we went to IKEA, we also got all the chocolate cake. It's like, we really had all the chocolate cake. I'm just waiting. And then out comes the birthday cake for this girl. I'm like, oh, this is her birthday? Inside she thought something else was going to happen. I was like, we got to go before the fight breaks out. We got to go.
Stayed for that. And like, bring me a coffee or something. I got to. Oh my God. Do you guys have popcorn? At one point I was just sitting staring, like, and the guy's like, are you good? I'm like, oh, sorry. Hi. I'm just expecting to see something. So that's my long-winded way of saying we ate a ton of chocolate cake on our anniversary, and we thought something was going to happen, and it didn't. And that girl called her friend and was like, I really thought it was going to happen. It was my birthday. There were roses. You just know. Yeah. At one point, she was like wiping tears out of her eyes. And I was like happy tears. And I was like, oh my God, like he's going to. Maybe he did later that night. Maybe.
I hope so.
Here's the thing. If my future, I don't know if I would care about getting married that much, but if my future spouse is listening, don't propose to me on my birthday, because I want as many days out of the year about me as possible.
I said, Victor, for the love of God, not at a restaurant.
Not at a restaurant. Not on my birthday. Let my birthday be about me.
Not New Year's Eve.
The engagement is about both of us, right? That like Craig and I met on his birthday, and we were kind of like, well, I don't want to celebrate like an anniversary because we're kind of inseparable since that moment. But I was like, we're not going to celebrate our anniversary on your birthday. Like, your birthday is yours. And then we just made it like 1 week later when we like first hooked up.
That's a good marker of time.
Yeah, we were like, that counts. But it's just like, I don't want my birthday every year to be like, oh, this is when we first got engaged. I want it to be like, oh, it's my birthday. And then I want our engagement to be like, not that that's an anniversary you typically celebrate for years to come, but I just don't want that associated. I want my birthday to be mine, So maybe it's for the best. She'll have another special day very soon.
Okay, another thing that happened is I visited my parents at home, and a couple funny things happened. So the first, I'm sort of combining two visits into one. It doesn't matter. The first is that we sat down. We used to always, my dad, my sister, and I sit down and watch The Bachelor. We had zero interest this season. But he said, let's watch the finale. So I'm going to spoil some stuff if you haven't seen it yet. It was the most uneventful thing I've ever seen in my life. But we're 10 seconds in. I know nothing about either woman. I know nothing about him. No, they flash. It's between the blonde and the brunette. I was like, well, the blonde's going to win. Guess who won?
The blonde?
Yeah, they always, if it's between two women, 9 times out of 10, they pick a blonde. That's every time. And then if it's between two men, they pick the taller one 9 times out of 10. That's how, if you want to make your bachelor bracket, follow my advice. Heed my word. So anyways, we watched it. My dad kept zooming through it because he loves to feel the emotion. He loves to have a good cry when love is real. And we were just like, oh my God. We just kept skipping through it. But the other cute thing that happened at home is there's a hummingbird that built a nest right outside the big window of my parents' living room, and on a Christmas light. It built it on like a hanging Christmas light. And my dad named the birds after us, me and my sister. So I got a text yesterday with a picture of a hatched hummingbird egg, and he said, Hummiette has arrived. Hummingbird Juliet, Hummiette. And when the other one is born, the younger sister, because my sister's name is Melanie, it's Hummely. He named them after us. I can't even handle it.
Too precious for this
Oh my
world.
God. I know. I'm gonna cry. And this all happened. Haven't shared too much of it on the pod, but I had like really bad depression last week, like just nasty. I felt like in Big Mouth when the big cat is just sitting on you. Oh, it's awful. And I was just like feeling like I was just trudging through stuff. And me and Sadie had this like moment. Can I tell about the God moment a little bit? Like a tiny bit? Okay. So just as a disclaimer, this is not about to become like a God podcast.
Still goddess.
It's goddess. It's not going to be a God cast. But I felt like I had turned every direction and I couldn't find the clarity I needed. And I was just so unhappy and like dealing with all these things. And I like sent Sadie this message. I was like, we need God. We need God right now. And she's like, it's so funny you should say that because I prayed to God. And I was like, I haven't done that in years. And Sadie was like, I haven't done that in years either. And we just had this like beautiful moment. And then this huge breakthrough happened. And then I was born as a hummingbird that same day.
Yeah. It was when I was in the bath and I just for like 20 minutes, I was just kind of like whispering a prayer out loud, sort of like a meditative, but I just kept saying, like, God, let me see the way. Like, God, let me be a channel for, just like love and inspiration and bravery. And, like every, person that comes across my energy, whether it's through a speaker or through a screen or in real life, like, I don't need any recognition, but I wanted that energy to like touch their lives and inspire bravery in their heart and creativity and whatever. And it was just like, I don't know, like it just felt natural for like it to be to God. And like, I think it took a while to like when I was sort of deconditioning and working through like Catholic guilt and stuff like that for me to be able to talk like that and not feel like a trigger. Because I still don't necessarily think that God is like this like guy in the sky sitting on a throne, right? It's just a way to articulate the same thing as saying source or the universe or whatever it is, right? But it just like in that moment, like it felt good to word it that way. And then, Juliet texted me the next morning and it was like, I need God. And I was like, oh my God, literally. So here's your permission slip. Like what feels good in the moment? Because sometimes I word it as like, dear universe, dear source, dear higher self. Sometimes I speak directly to a deity. Like, it's okay. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. Like in that moment, like what do you need? And in that moment, I needed that infinite love source energy to be articulated as God for me. Like that, that's what I needed. And sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's a goddess, a specific goddess. Sometimes it, but it's all the same energy that we're working with. Yeah. So here's your permission slip to like switch it up, to, take what you need in that moment. And it felt really good and really healing. And it sort of felt like it closed a loop in that sort of deconditioning and that guilt that I had been doing lots of work with around there, to be able to like say those words again. It felt really good.
I felt the same way. And I love what you said about a permission slip. We have a really big value for us, like with this podcast and with the witches and the goddesses that like come into our worlds and our programs and our memberships and all these things, is like, you get to believe in what's right for you, period. Like we will never influence you any other way. And it was just, I thought it was just kind of cosmic that in the same 12 hours, of course, I mean, I'm not surprised, but, and then it led to this big, like this breakthrough of, we've been like trying to run things so strategically and build things so analytically. And we're now at this point where it's like, I told Sadie yesterday, I was like, I'm not having enough fun. Yeah.
Like you said, you were like, I feel like I'm working for corporate. It's like, yeah, and that's not why we're in business for ourselves. And that's rippling out. And that feeling is, that feeling of like it's work is affecting the way we show up online and the way we sell. And it's supposed to be natural because like there's nothing we believe in more or like brings us more joy than equally the free content we put out, like this podcast and interacting in our DMs and our comment section on social media and seeing you in our live we do every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific. Come hang out with us. And equally, when we see that program purchase come through or someone joins our membership and comes into our, our paid world, and we know that we get to have close interaction with them and on an even bigger scale, on an even bigger degree, like literally change their lives. Like it's like, that's what it's about. And, when you're building a business, there does need to be strategy and you do need to learn. There does need to be branding and you do need to build a foundation, and have like a certain level of discipline. And I already said this, but strategy. But also, like, if you don't like working for corporate, don't build a fucking corporation that you now have to work for, right? Like, it's not us. And so we're like, we just need to be a little, we have these amazing foundations built. So now we can be wilder and freer and more chaotic because we have systems in place to support us. And that took a lot of discipline and consistency and showing up even when we didn't feel like it for a while. But now we're having trouble switching back into our wilder version of ourselves. And that's where this transition is happening, where it's like, no, now you're really supported. Now it's all there. Now you have automations and you have a really amazing hosting platform that's taking care of things for you and all of these things. So like, go back to your roots, go back to just like playing and having fun. And the best way that we can spark change in any of your lives is to be ourselves and to, it's definitely been frustrating to be like, we know that once people get into our membership or into our program, like their freaking lives change, but we kind of like lost the spark or the sauce in the way that we show you that this is the place you need to be in, right? The way we sell. And so it's come kind of full circle to be like, no, you remember who you are. And the right people are right there ready to come into your world. And we've already seen that ripple out and have an effect. So we're just feeling very grateful for this big, great breakthrough. And while we're talking about the business, should we really quickly, an hour and 7 minutes into the podcast, review some of the things we have going on in our world?
Yes. So the first thing is that Activate Your Magic is open. It's open this week to the public. It's a public launch. We have so many goodies waiting for you. It's the most amazing program with, what's so beautiful about it is you get 10 to 12 calls. It just depends how like the Alchemy Collective schedule maps out in the next couple months. But you get, I'm going to sneeze. Here, you take over. Popcorn.
As I have a sip of coffee in my mouth. Okay, so when you join Activate Your Magic, it's self-paced, but it's basically, if you were to follow the calendar of it, you can spread it out longer, but it's basically a 9-week program. But you have access to Activate Your Magic forever because it's the kind of program that you're meant to come back to again and again as you continue to like level up your life, gain more clarity, manifest bigger and bolder and more courageously. It's literally a roadmap to your freaking dreams. It's the manifestation process. It's opening up to your intuition. It's everything that we've used from the point of still working at our retail jobs to now. And we come back to this roadmap again and again and again and again on our journey. So you get access to this program forever. And when you invest in the program, you have included in that investment 2 weeks, 2 months of the Alchemy Collective, because we think it's really important when you first go through this program that you have access to us. Mm-hmm. That you have access to direct mentorship from Juliet and I. And so you'll have 2 months included in that investment of the Alchemy Collective. And then, of course, you're welcome. We'd love for you to stay in the Alchemy Collective past that point. We're here for you. So that includes, the Alchemy Collective has 6 live calls a month, the library of replays and meditations and tapping videos, and the Alchemy Radio, which is our private mini podcast stream. It's like 40 hours of content there. You get access to that for it might be 50 hours now. We're adding 6 hours or more every month. You also get, is that it? Yeah, the early bird deal was you get money, mindset, magic, but you missed it.
You can get that separately. DM us if you want that.
Yeah. So it felt very cool that this was the first big program that I created towards the beginning of our business. And this last year I said, Juliet, I created this big program, but I want you to co-teach it with me. I want to go in on it together. So we re-recorded all of it. And it's us teaching. When I first taught it, I was at a certain level of knowledge and experience. And then this was years later, re-recording it and bringing Juliet in. So it's an even stronger, more magical, more powerful program than ever. And we would just be so excited to have you join us. So if you're ready to just have that roadmap available to you literally forever, it's like I said, it's meant to be a 9-week program, but you can take your time through it if you have a busy schedule. If you were to stay on track for the 9 weeks, it's about 2 to 3 hours of work a week. So it's nothing crazy. And you can come back to it again and again. And we would love to have you there.
I want to say something about this, right? And just about any program, any like personal development program, any spiritual program, nobody like needs it, right? Like you have the magic within you. Mm-hmm. And so I want to explain the reason why you might desire it. Because I want people coming in that are like, I want this bad. Mm-hmm. Not that you need it. You don't need us. You don't need anybody. You've got it all. A reason why you might want this is there is big magic that happens when you are in a space where you are held accountable. There is big magic that happens when you have 2 people who've walked this path reaching out their hands specifically to you, saying, I see your vision. Let's help get you there. There's big magic that happens when you make a real commitment to yourself and you fill in your calendar with these calls that are coming up and you sit down and you do these journal prompts. It's a phenomenal program. It's a phenomenal program. I'm so proud to be a part of it. Every single person who has signed up in its existence, including in this early bird launch, I could cry because I know that they want something bigger for themselves and for their lives. They want to expand. They want to grow. They want to feel magical. They want to feel powerful, and they're going to get it. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to say, like, if you're sort of like, well, I don't really need a program. You don't need anything, but you might want it and you might love it. And it might just bring so much goodness to your life and help you collapse time. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen people come to realizations and make changes while working with us that would ordinarily maybe have taken them 5 years. Mm-hmm. We're really big on quantum leaping. And it's not a buzzword. It's a real freaking thing. It's a real thing.
We've done it. And our clients have done it. It's like, and so it's like, what do you want that it feels impossible or you feel stuck on? Like, let's help you get there. We've had people leave relationships they they were in for almost a decade that they never thought they'd leave, but maybe wanted to for a really long time. We've had people go back to school, switch careers, start businesses, a lot of stuff to do. You know, our purpose is so intertwined with what we do for a living. So tons and tons of clients with breakthroughs around that, or get promotions or get huge raises. Like, it's unbelievable what happens when you say, fuck it, I'm going to make this happen. And this program, like it's a roadmap. It's what it is. It's like, here is the energetic work. Here's the magic. Here is the mindset. Here's how we're going to rewire your subconscious mind so that you know the truth that has been there all along, that you can do it. You can make it happen. And it doesn't have to take a decade. You don't have to wait for the right time. We're going to do it now. We're going to make it happen. So it's our baby.
I know.
It's our baby.
It just lights our hearts up. It really, really does. So, and the other thing, if you're like, I'm thinking about Bali and I'm also thinking about Activate Your Magic, April 30th is our Bali bundle deadline. And the Bali bundle is amazing. So you not only come to Bali with us, 1 full week of magic and workshops and transformations. And like, if I know people are freaked out about the flight, I can feel it. They're like, it's so far. Come to LAX, make your layover LAX. I'll fly there with you. I mean it. We can arrange it. We're going to have this incredible week together. And then at the end of the trip, when you start heading home, you're going to get access to Activate Your Magic, the 9-week program. You're going to get access to Quantum Goddess, a 12-week program. This is all included. This is included in your retreat ticket. Helps you bring forward your creative vision, your business idea. It helps you get to a point where you can have a foundation and begin. We're giving money mindset magic. Rewire your relationship with money. Have a magical, supportive, nurturing relationship with money. We're going to do, I don't even know if I added this, but we'll give them the Creative Visionary bundle. Take it.
You get everything. You pretty much get everything.
An entire year of the Alchemy Collective, which is 6 calls a month, and mentorship at your fingers 24/7. So it's not just a trip. It's not just a retreat. It's a retreat and a year that will change your life. And that offer goes away, off the table. Goodbye. April 30th. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. It's going to be the most magical trip, the most magical time. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to take a zillion pictures. We're going to have dance parties. We're going to swim in the ocean. We're going to hopefully not get our jewelry stolen by monkeys. And it's going to be lots of fun.
I was really thinking about this and how exciting it is that we decided to make this a bundle, because it's like, it's so easy to feel like high on life and like anything is possible. And like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Like when you're in that bubble, like when you're on the retreat, when you're on vacation, we feel it. We're like, oh yes, you have all the inspiration and motivation. And then sometimes when you get home, you take a few rest days. Yeah. You have that, and then you're like, oh, and maybe the procrastination or the ego excuses come back in, or you lose that motivation. Maybe you have it for a little bit and then it dips off. And that's why what we want this to be is a week together in person, having the most magical experiences, being in a fucking vortex, the purification center of the world. This is the initiation into a year of transforming the fuck out of your life, right? Like we're going to be in this purification center of the whole freaking world. We're going to be going to holy temples, cleansing ourselves, getting rid of all of the bullshit together, right? We're stepping into a new version of ourselves. And then when you get home, you're not on your own trying to figure the rest of it out. When you get home,
you got us Juliet for a year.
Are there in your fucking pocket on your phone saying, all right, on the retreat, you said you were going to do this thing. How's it going? What are we doing? You're going to be on calls. You're going to be in a community with like-minded people that are also committed to changing their lives. Like this Bali retreat is a year committed to whatever it is that you're ready to fucking change. And if it's your whole entire life, great, let's do it. Let's fucking make it happen. We will. We absolutely will, because we've done it. We made shit happen in the first 6 months of committing to mindset, manifestation, and magical practices. It doesn't have to take very long. And we didn't get to go to a retreat in the one of the world's most powerful vortexes.
Oh my gosh.
And then have people, I can't imagine what that would have been like. We were in amazing programs those first few months, and that's why we did literally quantum leap in those first 6 months of being all in. So this is your way to do that. And literally the cost of the Bali retreat, that you get a full year of us and go on the trip, is literally the cost of one program that we did where we stayed at home on our computers. And got amazing support and had amazing transformation. But I'm like, this is like an amazing deal. And we're so excited and we're just pouring out our hearts to you. And we cannot wait to see you in freaking Bali.
I'm so ready. Okay. Now that we're an hour and a half into the show, it's time for our topic.
I guess we're having a 2-hour episode today.
You know what? I set the intention. I was like, we're going to have fun today. Like, we're going to have fun. So now I'm going to talk about witch hunts, which is not fun, but it'll lead to a fun game. So basically what inspired this whole thing is there's a trend that Sadie discovered going around on TikTok where it's like things that would put the real King Henry VIII into a coma, or things
like
that would
a
put
Victorian child, or they're so
we
funny.
thought, well, who's a big historical figure who just like hated witches? And turns out it was King James the First, formerly known as King James the Sixth. We're just gonna call him King James. Boo! I bet he had a very small you-know-what. Hated women. Okay. Was that mean? Sorry. I'm actually not sorry. He killed thousands of us. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about him and some things that I learned. And I have some quotes from these books that inspired him to be a mean man. Okay.
Evil.
Yeah, evil. Let's just say it for what it is. So King James was obsessed with witchcraft from the time he was a child. So this is around like the 1600s. He might have been born in the late 1500s in Scotland. He was obsessed with witchcraft. He had a lot of like bad things happen to him growing up. He had like his mother was killed and something happened to his father, and like 4 different people that sort of were raising him. They also, something happened to them. Like just very, he just was like, I must be cursed.
So naturally, witches.
And it really, really, really kicked in when his future wife, Queen Anne of Denmark, who was so ready to be a wife at 14, I'm sure, he needed her to cross the sea from Denmark to Scotland on a boat to get to him. Well, it was really, really stormy, and she almost died. Big storms. And instead of thinking, wow, the weather was bad, he thought, witches
Naturally,
put a curse on the ship. So in an act of chivalry, he said, okay, fine, I'm going to go on my boat to go get her and I'll bring her back. Well, the boat ride on the way back was just as terrible. And then he was like, that's it. There's definitely witches. And that unfavorable weather that had nothing to do with witches really like lit the fire. And he began reading this book that was published in 1486 called Malleus Malificarum, which is Latin for Hammer of the Witches.
Oh.
Okay, this is something that we should know. They didn't print an English edition until 1928. It was written by 2 German monks who... Boo. I'm not even going to say their names. Okay. And it was basically the Malleus Malificarum was the witch hunting guide. It's the book they referred back to in the witch trials. It's a book that lasted hundreds of years, that guided people and ended up resulting in thousands of women being killed. And the theory was that witches are dangerous creatures who must be eliminated from society. Mm-hmm. So let me read you. This is funny only because it's like compliments in disguise. Okay, we're gonna like translate this to the hidden backhanded compliments that are in here. So in the book that King James was obsessed with, it said, here are the reasons that women are far more likely to be witches. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. What else is a woman but a foe to friendship, an inescapable punishment, a necessary evil, a natural temptation? Okay, so I'm hot. Thank you. I'll take it. A desirable calamity. I kind of love that. Isn't that kind of like the era we're entering? Like
desirable calamity.
Just like hot and chaotic.
Put it in my Instagram bio.
A domestic danger. Here, this one's the best. A delectable detriment.
Ooh. Thank you very much. I'm a delectable detriment.
An evil of nature. And this isn't just witches. This is how just these women. An evil of nature painted in fair colors. This is how afraid of us they've always been. Women are naturally more impressionable. No, we're not. And more ready to receive the influence of a disembodied spirit. Here we go. Ready? They have slippery tongues. Thanks.
Thank you.
And they are unable to conceal from other women which things of evil acts they know. Yeah, if evil is that we know how to heal things with plants, if evil is that we have knowledge, yeah, we're going to tell other women.
Yeah.
Okay. They are feebler in both mind and body. Ugh. They are intellectually like children. Women are intellectually like children. She is more carnal than a man, as is clear from her many carnal abominations. She nasty. Ooh. She is an imperfect animal. I kind of love that, actually. I'm an imperfect animal. Obviously, this is all horrendous. I'm trying to find the silver lining. She always deceives. Wherefore, it is no wonder that so great a number of witches exist in this sex. That was a book that people read and people lived by, including King James. So, King James, who you also might know from the King James Bible.
Boo. Oh, good.
Okay.
He has his own version of the Bible.
He wrote two very popular books. He wrote the King James Bible, and he wrote Demonology. And he changed words in the King James Bible to reflect his own beliefs. So he retranslated the Bible to talk about like kings being holy. And it originally in Exodus 22:18 said, thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live. There were like all these things about like, if people are poisoning people, like we got to get rid of them. But he changed all those words to witches. So in the King James Bible, it says you can't let a witch live. He changed the word. He changed it because he was a small wiener man, afraid of women. And hey, nothing against that. I like a wiener of any size. Okay. You know what I also
only
learned?
If you're nice and you like witches.
You want to hear how dumb I am? Are you ready for this one? This is up there with pirates. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
There was a thing that said, oh, his daughter went on to be the queen of Bohemia. I said, that's a place? I thought Bohemian was like preppy, goth, Bohemian. I thought it was just like a style of clothing. No,
Wait.
it was a region, and I think it still is a region of the Czech Republic.
Oh, I knew it was associated, but it's not like a country. I was like, is it a country? But I knew it was associated with like somewhere in Eastern Europe. I didn't know specifically. So Bohemia is a part of as a region of the
It's
Czech
a
Republic?
region. It used to be, I think, its own place where they had their own queen, but now it's just like a region called Bohemia within the Czech Republic. But I was like,
Okay.
it's not like
I didn't know that
hipster,
all.
Bohemian, punk.
I think it's also that though. I feel like
Yeah,
it
but
is.
where did they get it from? The
There.
place.
Yeah, the place.
So if anybody else listening was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that either. You know how many countries are in this world that I will live and die and never know the name of? Blows my mind. Okay. So that's a little background. And the women, so of the women who in his text, were most likely witches. Here's all the reasons you might be accused of being a witch. If you were poor.
Put a finger down.
Put a finger down if you're poor. If you're elderly. If you're unmarried. If you've ever been in a land dispute with a neighbor. I'm going to call that a land dispute.
Oh, hell yeah, you've been in a land dispute.
If you have a sharp tongue. If you know the medicinal properties of plants, we would be so dead. Having a position of social authority over men, they said she's got to go. She's got to go. Having a relationship out of wedlock, does that mean? Oh, does that mean? What does that mean?
That you have sex outside of marriage.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're
I'm
like, not me.
couldn't be me. Or if you married the wrong person of a lower social status, which is so vague. So vague. Okay.
Intentionally vague. So they
they're
loop
like,
people
if you
into it.
have a nose. All right. So that's the background. So now that we know about this, just this horrible thing, it's good to know some witch history.
Yeah, I was reading like basically if you were that they said a disagreeable woman, meaning like if you spoke up, if you were like no, if you had boundaries, you were a witch. And a lot of it, so there were some men, but I read the number was like, it was like 85% or more of these accused witches during these like crazy witch hunts of this time period in Scotland and England, like over 85% were women. And most of it was like the accusations or the ways that they would say, like these were signs, they became more and more vague. Like as time went on. And like almost always with the women, it was associated with like, oh, they were having sex with the devil. And it would be very much associated with like sex outside of marriage. So it was mostly unmarried women, single women that, oh gosh, they were independent women that took care of themselves. What a threat, right? And then when it came to men that were accused, it was never, ever, not once associated with like sex or sexual anything, right? So it was very much a threat of women and the power we have in our sexual nature, very much associated with that. And a lot of it. So I was reading an article from, it was literally National Geographic. And it was a really good article. But what's sad is like they would get these confessions out of women, but they were torturing them until they would confess. And then after the torture was done, the woman would be like, no, it's not true. And then they'd be like, oh, well, you confessed. Can't take it back now. And so it was just so ridiculous. And then there were even, there was like one woman who came forward and she was like, I am a witch, but I'm a good witch that I can look at somebody and know if they're a witch or not. And she accused all of these women, and then later was found to be a fraud. But there was this sort of like what you see happen again and again and again. Like I recently talked about the book I read from Master Chun Yi Lin about his time in communist China as a child, and how like the neighbors were like, I'm going to accuse them, I'm going to tattletale on them so that I look better. That was the witch hunts. It was the same thing. So we have this like survival mechanism that makes us go, I better point out that they're bad before they think I'm bad, that maybe that'll save my ass. So it's just really sad how this is how it becomes out of proportion. And you think, how could women point fingers at other women? How can neighbors say that, or friends even? But it's like, you know, you're in survival mode. And I can't imagine being an unmarried woman in these areas at this time, and the fear that I would have of like, when is it my turn? Oh no, I once told my neighbor that they could, I don't know, chew on a mint leaf to cure a headache. I don't know if that's a thing. I made that up. But like, oh no, like they're going to tell on me that I'm a witch. I better think of something about somebody else. I don't know. Like, what would you do? It's so, it's so sad.
It was so rooted in keeping the women controlled and quiet and away from other women. And why would you do that if you didn't think that there was power in those people, right?
There's on the National Geographic article, I'll try to remember to link this. The article is called "Royal Obsession with Black Magic Started Europe's Most Brutal Witch Hunts." And there's this copy of a real like poster, or whatever you would call it, flyer that was posted up everywhere, that was printed in London in 1651. And I want to read some of it to you. It says, it's hard to read because it's in like Old English and the font is interesting. But it says, Scott's discovery of witchcraft, proving the common opinions of witches contracting with devils, spirits, or familiars, and their power to kill, torment, and consume the bodies of men, women, and children, or other creatures by diseases or otherwise. They're flying in the air, and to be but imaginary, erroneous conceptions and novelties, wherein also the lewd, unchristian practices of witchmongers upon aged, melancholy, ignorant, and superstitious people in extorting confessions by inhumane terrors and tortures is notably detective. Also, and this is a list of things that account under like witchcraft. The knavery and confederacy of conjurers, the impious blasphemy of enchanters, the imposture of soothsayers and infidelity of atheists, the delusions of figure crafters, astrologers, and vanity of dreamers, the fruitless beggarly art of alchemistry, the horrible art of poisoning, and all the tricks and conveyances of juggling, and I don't know that word, are fully deciphered. So it's really, I thought it was just so interesting.
Juggling.
They were like, if you're a dreamer, if you're an astrologer, if you know anything about the stars, it was just so interesting. It's like, the vanity of dreamers really stuck out to me. Like, oh, you're a witch. If you are a woman who thinks that you deserve to create more for your life, you're a witch and you must be stopped.
And now, if you're a woman who believes that you want to create more for your life, why do I keep burping? Yes, you're a witch, and it's the best thing you could ever be. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our game.
Our game. What would send King James VI, hater of witches, into a
coma? But we can't laugh. We have to like keep a really straight face. Okay. So I'm going to say it again. Okay. What we think would send King James into a coma, but we can't laugh. Okay, you go first.
Okay. Hillary Clinton.
A sexy minion costume.
Bing's AI robot Sydney threatening users?
Yoni eggs.
The women's right to vote.
Legally Blonde 2, red, white, and blonde.
I'm good. 39.9 billion views of the hashtag witch talk.
Seeing a woman's ankle.
The Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios.
Soap.
The music video for Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
I almost wrote that. Giving a congratulations speech at a bat mitzvah.
Going through airport security.
A Coachella recap.
The Pussy Hat Project. All those hats with the cat ears on them that they wear at the women's marches.
Oh. Yeah, I was there. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Super Soul Sundays with Oprah.
A contemporary dance warm-up.
Reality TV star Spencer Pratt.
A Tampax Pearl commercial featuring a woman doing a cartwheel.
Or riding a horse. Do you have one more?
Mm-hmm.
You do yours and then I want mine to be last.
Okay. A sound bath.
This is the number one thing that I would think would most certainly send King James, witch hater, into a coma. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The badass motherfucking goddess hangs community.
Yeah! Oh, he could never. He could never.
He's rolling in his grave as we speak.
Ooh, picking up dust. Oh my gosh. His bones just poof, disintegrated after this episode. Seeing us live the way we live. We were definitely born in the right time.
Yes, we were.
I don't really romanticize. It's so funny. I have a song coming out called Born in a Different Time. And I'm not necessarily romanticizing a different time, but we live at an interesting time.
We sure do.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to take that clip. I'm going to put the funny voice on it and I'm going to post it. It's going to be so funny. I can't wait.
So when I was like, who are all the famous people that identify as witches so that I could pick one? And I want to read you. So this is a great article that I'll try to remember to put in the show notes too. But this is an L.com Australia article about celebrity witches, and Spencer Pratt's on it. And I want to read you what it says.
Okay.
This would send King James into a coma.
Okay.
I spent thousands of dollars having a wizard coach.
Oh,
there's
he's
someone
gesturing.
knocking on my Airbnb thing as if I live here. Like, hey, I'm just staying here. Okay. I spent thousands of dollars having a wizard coach. Being a wizard, it's pretty heavy. Going around with a rutilated quartz wand and people start looking at you weird when you're wanding your coffee in the morning and whatever. Now I just love to look at them because I've moved past them having powers. If they had powers, I would be Kim Kardashian right now and not Spencer. I don't know what that means, but I spent thousands of dollars on a wizard coach and it's hard being a wizard.
That's what Spencer said?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should maybe he'll want to come on the show.
Absolutely. We should. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Let's ask him.
Okay. I'll write it down. Spencer. Spencer and my dad. Those are the couple men.
Have them on together.
A panel discussion.
We want to ask you about your wizard coach, how you got into crystals, and what it's like being best friends with hummingbirds. He's my favorite person on Instagram. He just has these angry faces while hummingbirds are like landing on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for another fabulous episode. We want to hear what you think would send King James VI, King of Scotland, King James I of England,
boo,
witch hater, boo, into a coma.
Boo.
Send us a DM, comment on the YouTube if you're on YouTube. And just a reminder, Activate Your Magic is open right now. We always have available our Manifest Like Magic free guide. If you are new to our world, if you haven't gotten that yet, and you want to dip your toes into the work we do, it's also a really great guide to some of our older episodes that have so much magic that are, for specific things you might want to dive into, like love magic, abundance magic. It's an amazing guide. It's 51 pages. And
it's free.
It's free. And then we also have the Alchemy Collective that you can join us anytime. It's our monthly membership. It's 6 live calls a month, over like 50 hours of content available to you in the library. We create so much magic together there. And thank you for listening. And we just love y'all so much.
We love y'all. Bye.
Bye, goddesses.